High ticket closers that are making between $5,000 and $10,000 in commission that are looking to take their numbers up to the $20,000 to $30,000 a month mark. You have no excuse not to watch this video in its entirety, especially if you clicked on it in the first place to improve your sales skills. If you're not familiar with myself, my name's Ethan. I went from having no prior sales experience to making over $30,000 a month in commission as a high ticket closer, and I've cash collected over $56,062 in a single day. So grab a pen and paper, take some notes, and I promise you, if you begin to implement some of these advanced sales techniques, you'll break through every sales plateau that you've ran into up to now and finally get to the commission you deserve. Let's jump into the call review.
This is going to be about manifestation, but not in the way that a lot of you are probably thinking, because when I heard the term manifestation, whenever I hear it, I always think of some Pilates girl drinking matcha, writing in her journal that she's going to be a multimillionaire if she carries on meditating and going to reformer classes. That's not the case. There is a new way to view manifestation, and it's the only real tangible way that it works, is how I'd put it. One thing I want to be aware of is I can't actually see if anybody else joins the waiting room, so I'll just hope that they type in the Discord that they need to join, but we'll see. Hopefully no one's late. Now, one change in perspective is all it takes, and that is that your success isn't optional. It is inevitable. And if we direct our focus to what really matters, then we can begin to embody the results that we want to achieve in our life. Now, the concept of your success being an inevitability is something that I adopted myself before I even got into closing. So if all of you don't have a magic whiteboard, aka just a normal whiteboard, you have to buy one. You have to get a whiteboard. I've had a whiteboard for the last 2 to 3 years, and it's always in my office or wherever I'm working where I can see it. And what I would do is I would write at the top of the whiteboard, I will do, or I will have whatever it was. So back when I was a personal trainer, I was making £2,000 a month, right? Low wage, barely getting by, living at home with my mum. One day I decided something had to change. Something has to change in my reality if I ever want to be able to live the life that I see other people living. If I even want the chance of that happening, something has to happen. So I got my whiteboard and I wrote on it, I will make £5,000 a month in August 2024. So that was, I think, a month later. Basically, I was saying I'd double my money plus per month in 1 month. What I then did was, after I'd wrote that on the whiteboard, I reverse engineered what I had to do. What are the actionable steps I would need to take for that to happen? I'd need more clients. I'd need more people paying me money. How do I get clients? I have to go onto the gym floor and cold approach as many people as possible and strike up conversations and see if they wanted personal training. So every single day of August that I went into the gym, I would say, I'm just going to have one conversation with a stranger. Then once I had the first conversation, I'd say, right, I'm going to have 2 more. I'm going to get 3. Once I'd had 3 conversations, the next 17 were easy. I'd have 20 conversations a day. Within that same month, I went from making £2,000 a month to £5,000 a month. In fact, I made £5,800 a month. So I effectively tripled the amount of money I was making in 1 month as a gym floor personal trainer in the northwest of England. That right there was the pivotal moment that changed everything else in my life. Everything else changed after that, because it cemented to me, to myself, that whatever I write on that whiteboard, I can actually make real. I can turn that into my reality. I have the capability to do so, as long as I reverse engineer it, action on the steps, and have conviction and belief in myself that I can actually make it happen. And this is the ideology that you guys need to have. Now, I know some of you have watched the YouTube video that I posted the other day. So some of this is of a similar concept that I covered in that video, but there's more to this. What a lot of people do, they go about their lives saying they want things. You all probably do this. I want a nice watch. I want a nice car. I want to live here. I want to have this much money in my bank account. What some people do is they actually say they need something. Oh, I need to be making X amount of money to have that. Oh gosh, I need to close this many deals this month. I need to have that much commission by the end of the month. I need that deal to go through. This follow-up that I'm waiting for, I need them to close on Friday. Anytime you say to yourself that you want or you need something, all you are subconsciously reminding yourself of is that you do not currently possess it. If you say, I want to be confident, you're not confident. If you say, I want to be rich, you're not rich. If you say, I want an expensive watch, you don't have an expensive watch. If you say you need something, you certainly don't have it. I need water, you're going to die of thirst. If we flip it, there are individuals who say, I will do that. Oh no, I will go to the gym tomorrow. I will do this. I will invest in that. I will have that car. I will have that watch. They're utilizing the same concept. They're talking about a specific goal, a specific outcome, a specific action, but they're using the power of their words very carefully. Because your words are way more powerful than you think. Every single time you say a certain thing, you are putting a certain level of programming into your own subconscious. Now, the problem here is people view the world as do, have, be. If I do the work, I will then have the result and I will then be the person that I want to be. If I work really hard, I will have more money and then I will be the guy who feels rich and successful. If I do the coaching, I will have better closing skills and more confidence, and then I'll be the successful 30K a month closer. But the issue is you have to flip this. And this is simple, but it's not easy. You have to be the person first, then you do the thing, and then you have the result. So you have to be the confident, convicted 30K a month closer now. Because that is already you. You just haven't materialized it into reality yet. But it's still already you. Because if it's coming, then it therefore exists. It's just not in our reality currently, right now. Once you become that individual, you then combine that with the actions, you will then have the result. Simple. If you are a multimillionaire and then you put the necessary work and effort into a vehicle that can actually get you to that end result, you will have that end result. This is the big difference. And it comes down to magnetism, fundamentals of the universe, because I'm not a spiritual guy. As some of you know, I'm not religious. I don't believe in certain concepts, even that a lot of spiritual people do. But this is a fundamental law. Opposites attract, the same repel. Anything you want will be repelled from you. Anything you need will be repelled from you. The moment you stop clinging onto something, you release that grip, it'll fall into your lap. Because subconsciously, you'll stop placing such an emphasis on the fact that you don't have it. That's all you're doing. Every time you say you need something to happen or you want something to happen, you're just fixating on the fact it hasn't happened or that you don't have it. Which therefore means your cortisol is going to be higher, your anxiety is going to be higher. You're not going to be the confident person that you think that external outcome is going to turn you into. You're putting such an onus onto it. And you live in a fictional reality 85% of the time already. Because you judge the value and enjoyment of your existence based on external variables. Think of it like this. The only reason why you want to make X amount of money or you want to have a certain thing is due to the emotion and the feeling that that is going to give you. So if your reality is based on accomplishments, the emotion that the accomplishment provides is therefore the real goal. It's how wearing the watch makes you feel, the level of significance that being able to give your mum and dad money will give you, the level of fulfillment that having the high-rise apartment that you've always dreamed of and seen online will finally give you. That's the goal. It's not the action or the tangible thing, but you define what emotions you feel internally. This is the really tricky part. Therefore, you actually have the capability to live in your desired reality without the external variable being the determining factor. There are Tibetan monks who have nothing and live in this complete state of peace, solitude, gratitude, fulfillment. They don't have any of these external variables. So how are they able to do so? Because all of us actually have the power to do that. We just fixate in our minds on once my life looks this particular way, once my external existence looks like this, then I will be the person that I want to be. That's all you tell yourself. But you are that person now. Those external variables are not going to change how your mind functions. They are not. Plain and simple. And this is where you begin to understand the true power that you possess internally. Because think of it, if you continue with this fixation, that those external variables turn you into that individual, you're not the individual capable of achieving the external variables. So, what is manifestation on a very real level? Reality doesn't respond to how hard you're working, it responds to who you're being. That's why there are people digging in salt mines or going to war or going through incredible hardship, working incredibly hard, and they still don't have the reality that you probably aspire to have. They're working a lot harder than you because they're not embodying that reality themselves. And your inner world is the cause of this. Your outer world is just the effect of your inner world. And we all know cause and effect. If you're fixating on the effect, then giving the effect, there's the problem. Once I make this money, I'll have this. Once I close this many deals, I'll have this. No, you have to stop forcing these things. You have to start aligning with those outcomes now. And your emotional and mental state must match your goal before you act. I would never have gotten to the level of success I now have if I didn't tell myself I was going to be here either way. Like once I became a closer, I wrote on that very same whiteboard, I am going to make £5,000 by May 2025, because that was effectively what I was making from my PT job. I made it in May 2025. The very month that I wrote down it happened. And in March, I'd already quit my job. Because in March, I said, well, I'm going to make that anyway, as it's wrote on the magic whiteboard, and anything that goes on that whiteboard happens. So I'm going to quit my job and go all in. Because it doesn't matter. The money's going to be there anyway. I then wrote, I'm going to make £10,000 by August 2025. And I'm sure you guys can guess what then happened. I made £10,000 in August 2025. Because action from the wrong frequency produces the wrong results. There are some of you who are blaming external variables, external factors. Oh my gosh, this space is so annoying. Oh my gosh, it's so difficult to land a role. Oh my gosh, all of this, blah, 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 blah. Think of the frequency that you're putting out to the world and to yourself. Do you genuinely feel as though that's the individual who's deserving to be a multimillionaire and be highly successful? Not a chance, right? So you've got to ask, does my inner world already feel like the version of me who has this? Because if you already had as much money as you could ever want, and you were living where you wanted to live, and you had the partner that you wanted to have, would you allow these issues to impact you or affect you? I don't believe you would. You certainly wouldn't, because you would now be the individual who doesn't allow those things to knock his energy. And this is because your beliefs are running the show, so to speak. Your beliefs aren't just these thoughts that you have day to day, they're energetic forces feeding off where your attention goes. If you think about it right now, if you all just pause, think about something that makes you feel really good, really good. Like hugging a certain individual, having a chat with a certain friend, going to a certain place, listening to a certain song. Think about how that makes you feel. And if you like really sit and think about it, you can almost start to feel the emotion, like really deep internally now under the surface is there because like you're envisioning it really hard. Like, yeah, okay. I can actually see how that's kind of making me smile a little bit. Like if I really imagine that's happening right now, that's because you're fixating your energy to something positive. But most of us, 85% of the time, fixate on a reality that will never exist. Like, what if I don't make any money this month? What if this opportunity fails? What if this doesn't work? That's not real. You're just now conjuring that reality in your own head, a reality that will never come true, but you're making it real in your mind. There's the problem. And limiting beliefs grow stronger the more you focus on them. So the more you're fixating on, what if I fall? You're never going to fly. And you don't have beliefs, they have you until you decide otherwise. Until you say, I am no longer going to manifest this belief inside my own mind. And for example, with me, I've effectively been fucked over with certain purchases recently. Like I had that emergency issue with my flight when I was trying to get back from Mexico. I paid for a flight that I didn't realize I'd even paid for. I didn't realize it had gone through for £750. Now I'm still trying to go through the process of getting that back. If I don't, I've effectively taken £750, so $1,000, put it into a bin and lit it on fire. That's all I've done there. However, I sat and thought to myself, there are individuals out there that would spend that on a dinner without blinking an eye. Well, that's just their average dinner. What energy are they functioning on different to me? If I'm now going, letting this annoy me, irritate me, upset me, what does that say about the frequency that I'm operating on compared to theirs? In fact, if I were to say that to them, they'd probably be like, what? Because of how menial that seems to their level of frequency, to their level of energy. And then you'll come up with this cope and say, that's because they've got loads of money, so it's not that big of a deal. If you want to have that, that's how you have to be now. This is the trick. This is what people don't seem to understand. What you perceive internally, you project externally. If I become the individual who complains if I lose £700, I therefore believe that £700 is a lot of money to me and it's hard to get. It's expensive. That's going to reject it from me. If I don't let it impact me or affect me, that now cements into my mind the conviction and confidence that it's not a lot of money and that I could make it back. So therefore I will. Because you don't see the world as it is, you see it as you are. We all see the world differently. Every single one of us on this call have our own reality. Obviously, we're the same species. We might not even see colors the same, who knows? But your world is completely different because you fixate on different things that I fixate on and vice versa. So if you shift your inner lens, your outer experience will then shift with it. It's why some days you can feel horrifically depressed and then the next day feel on top of the world. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. You've just conjured your reality internally. And it's why conviction is more important than affirmations here. Because repeating words that you don't believe doesn't change anything. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be cool. I'm going to be calm. True manifestation requires deep felt certainty, not surface positivity. For me, it was not even a remote doubt in my mind that I was going to make 20K a month as a closer once I'd made 10. I never ever wrote down on the board that I was going to make 20 because I didn't have as broad of a belief system as I did back then. I started at 5. Then I went from 5 to 10. But then once I got the 5, then once I got the 10, the 20 just happened because that's how it works. If you believe I'm not going to give up, I'm going to continue working hard, I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other, guess what? You're going to get the outcome. That's how it works. And your dominant emotional state is what you're broadcasting to the universe. If you're broadcasting a state of scarcity and doubt, then guess what? Opportunities will be scarce. People will see you as a doubtful person. They're not going to buy into you as a leader. They're not going to buy into you as a closer. Fear, doubt, and lack attract more of the same. So as a daily practice, you have to shift deliberately into certainty, gratitude, and expectancy. Like, just as an example, I was going to keep this as a surprise because you guys are going to see it on my Instagram and things like that. But I'll tell you because we've had a hiccup. But I've just thought I cannot let that hiccup change anything. I was scrolling on Instagram Reels the other day, earlier this week. I saw this insane penthouse. Crazy. I was like, this looks like something off a movie. This looks like some Bruce Wayne level place. My girlfriend's just graduated for university effectively. I just booked it. I just booked it on the spot for tomorrow. It's the tallest penthouse in Poland. And we now have to get a flight to Poland to stay at this penthouse. Because I saw this life. I saw somebody else is living this. Somebody else is staying there. If I don't conjure that reality for myself now, what is that telling myself? That's telling myself that's not my reality. But that is my reality because I can do that, because I can make the money back and I can keep pressing forward. Because I know the moment we walk into that penthouse and I'm sat there and I look at that view and it's got a sauna and a home cinema, I'm going to feel like the fucking man. And that's what I'm going to be. I am the fucking man at that point. And what's that going to bleed into? Further success, further opportunity, further congruency. Now, we had an issue because effectively the flights that we booked had a layover, and apparently the layover is impossible. So we've now had to book a train to a different airport, and I've had to buy another plane ticket. So I could get pissed off about this and think I now have to try and refund another plane ticket. But what frequency am I putting myself into if I do that? Honestly, what do planes have against me? It keeps happening. It's frustrating. But I'm trying now to not even let it frustrate me. Because last night I did get really frustrated. I was thinking, oh, this is really irritating me now. I'm basically just burning money. Like, I would rather have gone and given that to a homeless person at least. Like, I'd have rather done something with it than nothing. But I just thought I could sit here right now and get frustrated and moan. What the fuck is that doing? Nothing. Reality is reality. Nothing changes. All that's going to do is put me into a negative frequency and state of mind that somebody who had millions of pounds would not give a flying fuck about. If that's what I want to be, that's what I have to do. You cannot outwork your frequency, which is what people seem to think. And it's what a lot of people preach. Like, no strategy, hustle, working 10, 12 hours a day, taking loads of closing calls, watching loads of core reviews, doing loads of role plays. None of that's going to exceed your internal frequency. None of that. People are asking me, like, how have I closed these deals? How have I been successful? Do you really think it's because of my framework? Like this masterful framework that I've built, that's what's closing all of these deals. I'm just reading it like a script. No, right? People are buying into my energy on calls. People buy into how I show up as a leader. And the only reason why I'm able to do that is because I set those exact same standards in my own life. So I know what standard to hold them to. People can't give me objections. I've got an 89% close rate for this community. No one on this call gave me an objection. No one. Because you knew for a fact if you gave me an objection that I wouldn't let that slide. I'm not going to let that slide. I'd never give myself that objection. I'm not going to let you. Plain and simple. So the moment you're getting onto these calls, if you still give yourself that doubt, that fear, and then you're trying to reframe someone on fear, it's not going to fucking work. Of course it isn't. Because they're buying into you, your frequency, your energy. And if results aren't coming, stop adding action. This is like the crazy thing. People seem, what do I need to do? Ethan, what do I need to do to get these results? What more work have I got to do? How many more calls do I have to watch? That's not the problem. Start examining your state every single day. Are you waking up every single day saying, oh, I'm going to become a 20K a month closer? It just hasn't happened yet. But I know I'm going to continue doing what I have to do day to day, being the best version of myself. And therefore, that is going to happen. Is that really how you're operating and living? If it's not, there's the problem. Nothing else. Because the ceiling on your reality is set from within. Nobody else can determine or dictate that. No one, not even myself, thought I would get to the level I'm now at. Just think about that. I didn't even think I would get to this level, let alone other people. Other people had no concept of it. Other people are going to think you're far-fetched or absurd, especially from where I live, when I've said certain things. The only way that you build that is through consistent action, aka congruency, to build your manifestation muscle. Because every single time I wrote something on that whiteboard and it came true, it cemented in my mind that whatever I tell myself I'm going to do happens. And your environment, social circle, and media diet are shaping your frequency daily. If you're sat there doom scrolling brain rot, guess what, mate? You may as well eat goy slop, McDonald's every single day and just give up. Because that's the frequency that you're emitting to the universe. Just pathetic. If you're wanking off every single day, what are you doing? What are you doing? You really think that's the frequency that the person you really want to show up as every day lives on? Not a fucking chance. You think the moment you let yourself slip on these certain things, some of you that don't put the habit tracker in the chat, you're like, oh, it's just like some habit tracker he's made on Notion. I'm just ticking off whether I've doom scrolled or ate junk food, or I need to focus on my closing more now. I'm not going to do that. Is that, if you could snap your fingers, what the best version of yourself would do? Or would he do both? If he would do both, you're losing because you're not currently being that person, which you need to be to get your results. Most people are unconsciously running on a shared frequency of limitation. Because if you say to yourself, oh, not many people get to that level, therefore the probability is low of me getting to that level, you're just operating on the average shared frequency that people have. And anybody who's been an innovator ever in the whole history of humankind had to operate on their own independent frequency that nobody had ever been on before. You're just learning how to become a high ticket closer. Thousands of people have done this. It's not rocket science. You're not inventing the light bulb or electricity or something incredible. Think about the frequency that somebody would have had to operate on when literally every single other human being said that's impossible. What do you mean that's not a thing? Invented the radio? What are you talking about? No. If I talk into this box, there are invisible waves that travel across the planet and somebody else is going to be able to hear my voice. What the fuck are you talking about, mate? What are you talking about? No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I'm going to make this real. I'm going to make this reality. And they did. That is real frequency. That is a whole nother level that you don't even need to operate on. You don't even need to do that if you want to have a Lamborghini and a couple $1 million. That's way easier than that. So if you continue telling yourself making 20K is far fetched because not many people I know make 20K and oh, it seems it's not going to happen. Plain and simple, it's not going to happen because you have to be intentional. So protect your inner world like it's your greatest asset. My conviction is bulletproof. Like nobody's going to be able to shake my conviction. And I think it's now gotten to the point where people don't even try because they've been proven wrong so many times now that they don't even bother because they'll just look stupid. Like if somebody now hears me say, I will make 100K a month, I don't even really think they're going to bat an eye. They'll just be like, oh, I mean, all right. There's the difference. You have to transcend the collective. So in the morning, what you have to do is set your frequency before you engage with the world. So every morning, I've actually started reading like a chapter in the evening and now potentially even a chapter in the morning when I very first wake up of something like self-help, something productive. But every single morning, what I try to do is follow a strict routine effectively where I tell myself, this is how I'm going to operate today. These are the characteristics that I'm going to embody, and I'm going to do my very best to avoid anything from shattering that. And then throughout the day, I'm going to try to notice my dominant emotional state and correct it. Like I said there, when I was getting frustrated in the evening about losing this plane ticket, I then went and got a sauna. And then I was sat in the sauna, sweating, dying for like 15 minutes. And by the time I got out of that sauna, it was just didn't care. Did not care. Because I said, if I carry on caring about this, that is going to do more damage than losing £250. What would I actually value that of? That way more. So it doesn't matter. And it's the same with any of these minor inconveniences in your life. Like someone hits your car. What are you going to do? You're going to allow someone hitting your car to completely knock your frequency and state. How much is that valued at? Way more than it's going to fucking cost to fix the car, mate. If not, you're devaluing yourself. And in the evening, do a review. Were you the version of yourself who already has what you desire throughout the day? Call didn't close. Doesn't matter. Review it. Show up better tomorrow. Close more. Prospect was a dick, pushed back on you, really irritated you, annoyed you. You can let it impact you very momentarily, but if you hold on to those thoughts for the rest of your day, letting yourself down, not the person you want to be, I'm sure. It's up to you whether you allow external variables and factors to impact your internal state. But if you choose to allow that to impact your internal state to X degree, you're devaluing the value of your internal state above all else, which is going to be way more costly than whatever the fuck it is you're worrying about. Because you're worth way more than that. Boom. That's the presentation, boys. So I hope some of you have some questions, takeaways, feedback after that, because I wanted to do something a little bit different this time around. This is something that now I've looked at it has predominantly been the effective only reason why I've gotten to where I have and other people haven't. Like this is it. And every opportunity that has come my way in the closing space, every single opportunity was manifested in one way, shape, or form. The very first closing role I got was a year before I even knew what closing was. I invested about $5,000 into working with a fitness business mentor to become an online fitness coach. That didn't work. However, I didn't just give up. I said, I know what the life is that I want to live. I'm never going to stop until I have that. Like nothing's going to stop me. Nothing. So this didn't work. What else is there to do? He said to me, have you considered being a closer? I was like, I have no idea what that is. He was like, look into it. I looked into it. I invested another $5,000 into working with a closing mentor. That same guy that I'd invested into like a year before messages me and says, dude, I can see that you've invested into closing and that you're like trying to work your way up. I've got a friend of mine who wants somebody to sell a low ticket fitness package for him. Would you want to do that? I was like, yep, straight away. Yep. As soon as I said that, house fire. Wake up, house on fire, lost my home. I then sat there and said, okay, probably the most traumatic pendulum shift of energy you could ever experience for the most part, in a lot of ways. If I don't still take that job, which I was supposed to start at the end of that week, I might never get the opportunity again, and nothing's going to stop me from living the life I want to live. So I messaged the guy, I have the text still, like, hey, dude, I've just been in a house fire, basically lost my home. I still want the job. I will still start the job, like at the beginning of next week. I'm just going to have to figure out where I'm going to take my calls from. So I had to take them from an Airbnb on top of a set of drawers with no space for my legs. Because I'm not going to fucking let this stop me. Nothing's going to fucking stop me. Nothing's going to stop me. Started closing on a low ticket fitness offer, selling like £120, £200 packages. Did that for a while. Knew barely anything about closing. I was basically just selling on like conviction and confidence and getting people out. Didn't know about getting people out their own way. I just sell on rapport effectively. Then that same guy I'd invested $5,000 into a year before messages me saying, I can see that you're closing really well for this mate of mine and that you've invested into yourself. I want you to come and close for me part-time, high ticket. What? This opportunity that I effectively manifested a year ago has now come full circle. So I started closing for him part-time, did that, quit my job in March, went full-time, worked with him for a month. I then reached out to a friend. Friend of mine says, dude, that offer's way too small. You should be on a bigger offer. You've got way more potential. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, how much is that offer doing? I was like, $40,000 a month. He was like, mate, you need to be on a $100,000 a month offer at least. Like, you don't realize how much you're missing out on. So I said, okay, fuck it. Started looking for a $100,000 a month offer. Reached out, got in touch with the sales manager. He said, send me your best call recordings. I did. He said, send me a loom. I did. He jumped on an interview, gave me the job. I then told the guy who'd given me my breakout opportunity, I've got to go. That was it. Immediately. Got to go. Quit at the end of the month. Started in April on a 100K a month offer. I then worked on that offer 2 months. And then the same thing happened. Offer dropped off. Wasn't making the money I wanted to make. I think best month I'd made was probably $8,000, maybe, give or take. That drops off. I jump off that offer. I go through a downward spiral. Shit offer, shit offer, shit offer, terrible leads. Quit one off after a week. Tried to get onto another. False promises, false promises. Then I see someone post on their story about getting on one of the biggest offers in the space, effectively. This guy I had been DMing by chance on and off for probably the last year, every now and then, just like every now and then, just be like a bit of chit chat about something random, like him being in Mexico or him being this or him doing that. I literally just randomly pop up to that story. I said to my girlfriend, this would be crazy if I got this opportunity, you know, like this would just be crazy. Pop up to the story, bro, I'll send you anything you need ASAP. He's like, send me your best call recordings, a loom, send him it. That evening, when can you start? Right now. Okay. Quit my closing role, jumped onto a $6 million a month offer. Boom. All of those opportunities only came about through prior connections that I would have never thought would lead to an opportunity. What? I didn't have any idea any of that was going to happen. The only reason why they were possible was because the way in which I've operated. Because people have been able to see the confidence in me. They've been able to see the conviction, see the determination, and that sells more than anything else. That'll get you in any other door. And this is the difference between being the person first, then you do the thing, then you have the result, which is what we all need to do.